Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Bursey, and today I'm joined by someone I've really been looking forward to chatting with, Rick Hamrick. Rick is a seasoned investor and a master of the distressed property niche, from navigating the complexities of pre-foreclosures to turning unsellable problems into profitable assets. Rick has built a career on helping homeowners find a way out and helping investors find their next big win. Rick, welcome to the show.
You, Scott. Thanks for having me.
I think our audience is really going to take something away from your journey through the ups and downs of the Midwest market, specifically your ability to pivot when the economy shifts and stay ahead of the curve. Let's dive in, shall we?
Sounds good.
So, first off, for people who may not be familiar with your world, give us the short version. What's your main focus these days?
Our main focus is just that pre-foreclosure, distressed assets, distressed borrowers, properties that most agents and investors think they can't do anything with. That's exactly what we're looking for because we know how to solve those problems. I was taught at a very early age in my career that if you provide solutions and you provide value, you will always be needed. So right now, we're seeing about 3 to 5 properties per week get submitted to us just in the Kansas City operation alone. So it is focused on providing solutions where others can't. And in this market and economy, we're as busy as we can ever be.
I can imagine. You mentioned the Kansas City markets. Are you in any other markets? Could you elaborate a bit on that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So just by the nature of what we do and the networking we do, because we implement what's called the 6-week compounding routine, where we have this 6-week routine where we are literally networking with professionals and helping them understand what we do and how we do it. We're literally working deals from Florida up to Washington State and everywhere in between. We're heavily concentrated right now in the Midwest, just simply by physically being here, but we've got a lot of opportunities and deals that we're working in Florida, in Georgia, in Texas, and Colorado. Those seem to be the 4 other states that we're getting hit on right now. But we have deals in Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Utah. We're working a deal in right now. So it really just a matter of where the help is needed, we go. We just need to make sure we have a local power team, boots on the ground that can be there and interact with the appraisers, with the agents, with the buyers, and with others, because what we do from a negotiation standpoint can be done from my own home office here in Kansas City.
Love it. That's a broad range. And the boots on the ground mentality right there in KC. That's awesome. What
Yeah.
caught my attention about you was the way you've been able to focus on pre foreclosures and distress situations. It's a tough niche that requires a
It
lot
is.
of empathy and a very specific skill set, to be quite frank. And you've
Right.
managed to turn it into a powerhouse business. What's been the key to keeping your machine running smoothly?
Well, I would say that, I mean, I've heard for years. I bought my first rental property in 2016. And then, of course, I got put on the wholesalers list in 2016 and just watched a bunch of stuff between 2016 and 2020. And I just kind of shook my head. I'm like, what is going on here? Right. Because every investor, every wholesaler, they all say, I want to do pre-foreclosures. I want to do pre-foreclosures. But when the going get tough, that's the first thing that they cut out. The homeowners or the borrowers that truly need a solution are the first person that they typically just crumble up the lead and throw it to the side. Right. That's where I'm raising my hand and saying, no, 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 that's what I want, because those are the people that truly need help. Right. And a lot of the folks that we're helping right now are senior citizens, and then also broken families where, they're the husband and wife split apart and there are kids and there are multiple houses, multiple utilities, multiple everything. Everything basically gets doubled for them. So to basically know how to solve those. And the biggest thing I think is action, being action oriented. The only way you're going to be able to do this business is by doing, right? People talk a lot in hypotheticals. They ask a lot of hypothetical questions, and we just kind of look at them and say, why are you asking that? Is that a situation you're dealing with right now? No, it's not a situation. Then stop asking that question. Go out and shake a few more hands, talk to some homeowners, knock a door, do what you need to do because honing your craft is literally the best way to be busy and active in any market or economy.
Sure, and that all ties into that boots on the ground mentality, and that's impressive. And Rick, to be honest, what's also impressive is that you've been able to reach the level of autonomy that you have. Was there a specific moment or a particular deal where you realized, okay, hey, this is actually working?
Yeah. Well, it was the my very first short sale back in 2020. Um, I was working with my current partner in the mastermind. He was actually a mentor to me in a different legacy generational wealth mastermind. And I thought I was going to go do my first creative, sub two deal. I was going to take over a low equity or no equity home. I was going to get rid of the property mortgage insurance and I was going to turn around and sell it on a wrap. I stepped my foot indoor of the house and I didn't even get past the front door. And I looked at the homeowner. I said, Lisa, I said, this is more than $5,000 worth of work. I said, this is upside down. This is short. So I came back to the mastermind and I told William, I said, I guess I'm done. I thought I was going to do something fun and cool. And that's when he goes, whoa, 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 whoa. He goes, let me show you how to monetize that. Let me help you understand how you can help this homeowner. And this was a mountain. This was an FHA loan. And the borrower was in the house for less than a year. It was about 11 months when she contacted me. The story is much bigger than the time that we have on this podcast. But just know that when he showed me how to flip into that solution mindset and providing something that would actually add value, a $32,000 check later for negotiating a short sale was like, okay, this is what I want to do, right? I want to be able to turn deals that most others can't turn deals into money, right? Do it, and then also, I mean, at the end of that deal, I mean, Lisa literally looked at me and was crying and thanking me profusely. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do this. Most people told me they couldn't help. So on top of making good money, it was a very good, gratifying feeling to actually be helping somebody in the process.
What a wonderful light bulb moment. Thank you for sharing that. Now, Rick, every operator I know has a moment where things got real. Maybe a deal went sideways or a time that you had to pivot fast. You mind sharing one of those moments with us?
Yeah, I mean, I can probably think of, a half a dozen. I mean, our track record is really pretty good. I mean, 90% of the legitimate opportunities. I mean, we get thrown a lot of stuff that we have to kind of use a rubric and score and find out if the deal is real or it's not real, if it's real opportunity, if the homeowner. I would say that each house and each loan and everything about this person makes a unique situation. Every single deal is a unique DNA. Literally, there's no two that are alike for a lot of different reasons. There have been a couple of times where there were some early lessons back in 2022 and 2023 as we were getting more heavy into this, where we would potentially lose something to foreclosure and not having the knowledge or the skill sets at every single turn to prevent that from happening, or understanding that this is a Freddie Mac or this is a Fannie Mae or FHA or VA, and they all operate slightly different. So there have been plenty of times where we've gotten close to the end and been able to pull them back, but there have been probably about a half a dozen in the last 6 years that I look at myself and kind of reflect on the fact that if I'd only known this one nuance, or if I only knew how to do this or do that, we would have prevented foreclosure. Because at the end of the day, foreclosure should never be an option. There are literally 8 options for somebody in pre-foreclosure. And if they truly want a solution and they're willing to work with you and cooperate with you, foreclosure should literally not be an option. And bankruptcy, the seventh, that should also not be an option, right? At the very least, get to that sixth option, which is a short sale, which, believe it or not, as long as you know how to do it and you systematize and you have team members that know how to do it, they're not as bad as everybody makes them out to be. And we're recognized as national short sale experts. That's one of the biggest deals, set that we get from others is this has no equity or low equity, huge arrears or large amounts of partial claims. So we need help on this. So a lot of moments to pivot and learn, really. throughout the 6 years that we've been doing this hard.
Sure. Looking back at the 2022, 2023, as you mentioned, what tripwire or system have you built specifically so that misfortune can never happen again?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, as we continue to grow, right, we saw things pick up in 2023, but still not as big as we thought we would. Right. The difference between 2008 and 2020 to 2026 is the system collapsed and the market failed and the government stepped in 2008. Okay, we had this global pandemic in 2020, and before any market issues happened, the government stepped in. And so we've had 5.5 years of government programs and kicking the can down the road and putting money into the housing market, and those things are starting to dry up now. We had a huge boom between 2020 and June of 2022. I remember it. June of 2022 is when the feds increased the interest rate for the first time. It was that June, and then we had a little mini recession, June of 2022 to December of 2022. And so now the government is running out of those options, and they're finally starting to pull back and rip the Band-Aid off. So in 2022, 2023, what we started doing was refining the systems and adding team members where we couldn't scale ourselves because we were working too close and too deep in the business. We added team members. We have 5 additional team members plus my partner in the Kansas City area. Now those team members have very regimented system of follow-up calls to the banks and to the institutions, and they never get off the phone without asking, is this in loss mitigation or is this in foreclosure? 2 different departments at a mortgage servicer. And number 2, is there a sale date? Right? As long as you're in loss mitigation and you're protected with no sale date, now you feel pretty good. And that happens on an almost 7 to 10-day cycle. So that's happening regularly by our team members to prevent the, oh crap, last minute, they have a sale date next week. And you're like, how did we get there? Our team asks that question basically every week. So that is one of the biggest ways that we are preventing that from happening. We're not getting surprised by sale dates like we did in 2020 to 2022.
That's awesome that you have those measures in place. And honestly, Rick, it's what separates the folks who dabble from the ones who stay in the game long term.
Right.
Let me ask you this. What are you most focused on solving or scaling next?
Well, it's probably what a lot of folks are looking at. I think that it's been pretty amazing because we're very close to the data. You and I were talking a little bit about the partial claim data, right? And that is where HUD steps in and bails a homeowner out on an FHA-backed loan. But it's really surprising to most people to hear that 75% of licensed agents did 0 deals in 2024. 75% of licensed agents did 0 deals in 2025. And you're wondering how that can happen. I mean, you're losing almost 1 million licensed agents year after year. And what it really comes down to is they don't have the skill set to pivot in a market and economy like this. In a normal economy, there are 1.5 million pre-foreclosures a year. That's in a normal housing market and everything else. There are not enough people to even help the 1.5 million. So if you know how to do that, you're just kind of riding through those good periods. But then when what's going on is happening now, then it just goes like this. You simply ramp up and you can basically, I don't want to use the analogy, it's like shooting a fish in a barrel, but it is. The thing behind it is that you actually have to truly be empathetical. You have to want to provide solutions. You want to have to help people. And the reason that most people respond to our focused marketing is because it's, hey, we want to come, we want to walk alongside you, we want to help you find all of the different options that you have. Eventually, if it gets to a transaction, we're here no matter what that transaction is. But the marketing that most people that are on the notice of default list or the notice of sale list are getting are, I can help you sell, I want to buy, I want to buy, I want to buy. That's the last thing a homeowner wants to hear. So we come from an empathetical, we'll help you provide solutions and negotiate with those big bad banks and institutions because we do it every day. And so that's the sheer difference in what we're seeing. So there's a
And
lot that you can do.
There is, and you hit home on a lot. And the key point there that I took away from it was being versatile in a downward economy, perhaps a downward market. Being versatile
Right.
is huge. Rick, what's the next real goal for you?
The next real goal, and we also talked a little bit about that, is to get myself out of the business more. And when I say that, there are so many things that we have with the team members, with the software technologies that we're putting into place. Of course, the AI that we're putting into place that really helps scale and replicate us and allow us to get, because in pre-foreclosure, especially when we're working a short sale, there are so many complex decision points that are involved in so many complex documents from the actual as is, BPO or valuation, or the appraisal, the title commitments, the approval letters, and everything that come with it. That it takes a very high level skill set to understand how to unwrap and how to unwind and actually apply a solution that works. Well, we're training the team to not just be task oriented. I just check a box and follow an SOP. Our team is literally becoming knowledge workers, and then we can supplement that with the decision points and the artificial intelligence to really kind of remove ourselves from the business. And that's only because we want to be able to take our time and help more people and focus in other areas and focus on the complex deals and let the team run like a machine on 80% of the other deals.
Great roadmap there. A lot of people in the industry treat the door count or revenue like the final scoreboard. For
Yeah.
you, is hitting those numbers the win itself, or is it just the
No.
capital you need to stay in a much bigger game?
Yeah, this was probably the most entertaining thing that I've heard over the last 10 years. I mean, literally since I bought my first rental property in 2016 to now is, oh, we do 100 doors, or we do 1,000 doors. I have 5 doors. I have 10 doors. I have this. And to me, I am much more about the life by design. Another reason that I want to get, down to 20% of the time. We choose to focus on the front end of the process, the notice of default. We do not focus on the notice of sale, because the notice of default is the first legal action, and that gives us more time for solutions. But also, if it is a no equity or low equity situation, we've got more than 37 days, right? So it is literally, I am working with banks and institutions, and when they're closed on nights and weekends, we're closed. When they're off on holidays, we don't have to work. We choose to work a lot of those holidays, but we don't have to work those holidays. So it's more for me about the life by design. And when I say that, it is literally the quality over the quantity. If I did 1,000, let's just take that short sale that I was talking about. If I did 1,000 of those deals at a $32,000 profit, that is a much better number than, hey, I did 1,000 wholesale transactions this year. My question always, when somebody tells me I did 150 houses this year, and what was your profit margin? Ooh, $1,000? That is terrible, right? So there's two levers that we work on our business, especially coming into 2026, right? Was getting the actual deal, average deal size and volume up, right? We're working on increasing that by 25%. I don't have to do any more deals to actually make more money if I'm making each of those deals valuable. So it is quality over quantity, truly providing a solution, and also not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Why do I want to do 1,000 deals at $1,000 per deal profit when I can do 10 at the $32,000?
Message well taken, and I'm with you on that. That's big.
Yeah,
Now your next move can either compound things or perhaps even create chaos, depending on how you play
right.
it. Now, I know a
Yeah,
lot of our audience, Rick, is either earlier in their journey or looking to level up in some fashion. And I think they'd benefit from hearing this. When it comes to building relationships and growing your network, what's made the biggest difference for you?
right. I think literally providing value. If you stop and you think about the fact, I mean, there are so many people that reach out to me. I've seen it in the industry and a lot. Hey, hey, can I pick your brain? Can I meet with you? Can I go to lunch with you? And you're like, why? right? I'm busy enough as it is right now. Why am I going to go spend 2 hours? Like, so whenever you're reaching out to an operator that is doing the business and doing it on a regular basis, make sure that you're providing value back. Because if I took the time to meet with anybody that asked to meet with me and all the time, I would literally be, doing that networking 40, 50, 60, 80 hours a week and not have time to help the homeowner that I'm trying to help. I very rarely answer my phone direct when our partners in our network, the agents, the investors, and others that are working with us, they're coming in through our CRM, and the team can respond and the team can answer and the team can bubble it up to me. So when you are asking for that time, make sure you are providing value in return.
Sure. Otherwise, you'd be running around with your a chicken with their head cut off, like you alluded to, and that's one thing that you're avoiding. Very good point. Everyone
Yeah.
says provide value, but
Yeah.
when you were starting out and you didn't have a huge bank account or a massive portfolio, what was your currency? How did you actually get the attention of the heavy hitters?
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and this is probably kind of really goes back to my partner in the mastermind, right? In 2020, the way he looks at it and say, I'm a huge fan of masterminds because I believe you get out of them what you put into them. It is the 80-20 rule where 80% of people show up and do nothing. They chase the shiny object. I'm a short sale investor this week. I'm a short term rental investor this week. I'm a pad split investor this week. I'm a sub two investor this week. You have to actually hone your craft and be good at one thing before you've earned the right to move on to the next. And what William literally recognized, and the reason he's my business partner today, is because I asked actionable questions, not hypothetical. We're not fans of hypothetical questions. As we say, if you haven't come across a situation, don't even ask that person that question, right? I want real questions based on what you're doing. And then I actually took action and did exactly what I was being told to do feedback wise. And you start to see the actual success happen. And that was one of the biggest things was back in 2020, literally, he looked at me and said, you're literally like my best student. You did exactly what I told you to do. There were no questions. There were no, I'm not going to do this. And then you actually take time. So there's the reason I don't like to just hop on the phone for an hour or go spend 2 hours at lunch with somebody is because 80% of the people that you talk to shake your hand and say thank you and never do anything with that information again.
A true student of the game. Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's something you can't fake. Relationships are everything in this space. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people underestimate the compound interest of a good relationship, Rick.
Right.
One solid connection today might not pay off for 3 years, but when it does, it usually is the biggest win of your career.
That's right.
All right, before we wrap, if someone wanted to reach out, connect with you, maybe collaborate, or learn more about what you're doing, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can hit me up at Rick at KCEREC. Right. That last part is expert real estate consultant. So KC, that actually stands for the Keystone Collective, but we're also based out of Kansas City. So there's kind of a double meaning to all that. So KCEREC, you can come to IPA4REI.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me. I'm very active on LinkedIn and Facebook and everything else. So it's pretty easy to get in contact with me, especially if you're an action taker and you're shaking and you're moving and you're doing. I mean, I work a ton with licensed agents and brokers, but also with a bunch of investors around the country. So don't hesitate to reach out. I love to share. I love to teach. And again, to those that are willing to take action and not ask hypothetical questions that are going to do, because there needs to be more of us. Again, 1.5 million pre-foreclosures in a normal year, and there's not enough people to help. Right now, we're way over 4 million, and that number is growing. There's just not enough people to help. I am an abundance mentality. I don't hold anything back. I share. So I'm happy to interact with anybody as they reach out.
That's clearly evident. Perfect. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, your story, and your perspective. We need more people in this
Thank you.
space who are doing it the right way, Rick. Thanks
Right.
again for being
Right.
here.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate you having me.
And for those who are tuning in, if you got value from this, make sure you're subscribed. We've got more conversations coming up with operators just like Rick, who are out there building real businesses. We'll see you in the next episode, everybody.